I've come to realize that, you see, the core concept of self-control, and which works in this aspect as in dealing with boundaries, starts with parenthood. The ability for parents to say no to a child, and for the child to grow up with such knowledge that it's not everything you cry or ask for that you will always have. And when developing that into a child, what parents do not realize, it enhances and encourages, it helps a child eventually to gain strength in the area of self-control. And I'm talking about basic self-control in life, where you could be in a place and you can say to yourself, no, I'm not going to go ahead with this. I'm going to restrain. Growing up, one of the things I found as a child was my dad would say to us, by 6 p.m., you must be home. Now, I grew up in Africa, and growing up as a child, I remember I didn't need a watch, though I had watches, but I didn't need it. I knew 6 p.m. in the part of the world I grew up as a child was easy to tell. When the sun sets, you're going home. And my dad, many a times, apart from setting real time, he himself kept to those. That when the sun is going down, my dad is coming home. We knew my dad would be home by 6, no matter what. And if he's not home, we know where he was and what was happening. And by default, every child had to be home by 6. And it was as basic as that. Those were boundaries. Now, I left home and I went into university. My parents were in there. I was free. Now, it's sort of been brought into me that as a young adult, I'm in uni, I go visiting a friend, Christian brethren, and I'm sitting with them. The moment it starts going dark, I found myself uncomfortable where I was. I needed to go back to my apartment, which was rented. I just got up, I said, no, I have to go. And they'll be like, why? In fact, sometimes the way I say it, a sister once said, why do you say it that way? I'm speaking to myself, like, what am I still doing here? So that I say it out. I said, man, better get out of here. I have to leave. And I literally say it out. And one day, I began to wonder, why am I this set this way? Then it dawned on me that over the years, growing up, I saw my parents instill this basic discipline. Now it's now become a part of me. I'm free. They're not here. I could do anything I want, but does not mean I do anything I want. Now I have self-control, self-discipline that I know by default you should be home. Because the point of you being a friend of a child, there is a phase for that. There's a point when you train and teach a child. There is a point where you coach and instruct the child. There is a point where you become a friend and you counsel the child. I use the word child in all cases because it depends on the age gap. A child of an infant cannot be put in such a place, and this is where many make the mistake. Where in your approach to make the child make decision, what do you want? Then the child is meant to decide if he can, oh, is this what you want? No, that child doesn't know what is best most of the time for he or she. The child wants ice cream all the time. Yes, you want the child to be close to you. You want to be a friend of the child. Does not mean you would not be close to the child. If you put your foot down, if you say no is a no. The child must have to understand and come to understand that no matter what you cry, it's not going to change the decision. And those are the little steps that makes for boundaries. And to the point where you lift your voice. I remember I say this always when with my niece and my kids and we're growing up, and the children, anyone starts doing anything wrong, I will laugh and say, listen, if no one behave themselves, you will suffer the consequences. And they're like, oh, I said, watch it. And what I do is, if I carry out a threat, I will carry it out through. If I say I'm going to do this, so I'm not going to say I'll break your head. No, you're not going to break the child's head. You're not going to break their head. But whatever I threaten, I will follow the same way. Whatever I promise as a reward, you must be able to follow it through. So it's not just an issue of you exploiting the opportunity to bring pain and hardship. No, even the reward system. If you do this is what I'm going to do. Make sure that you don't just plug it. Let them see that you fulfill what you say. I did have a teenager that came to stay with us. She's finished uni and everything. And I remember then raising her up, my wife's niece. And while she was around at the time, she came with all the tantrum as a teenager and everything. And we had an assignment. And thank God she's in classes and everything today. And while going about the assignment, and I told her, these are the rules. So I told her, you can use your phone, but she will keep violating it. And it was simple. I was in charge of the phone. I was paying the bills. I put restrictions in certain areas. And when you cannot leave your mobile phone, I switch off the internet. I have unlimited internet. She doesn't. And the Wi-Fi in the house, I pay for it. I switch it off. At such a time, it's time to go to bed. It has to be done. And before we knew, we began to show. And the parents remained grateful that we were able. The mom was, how did you learn? I don't know. I learned from scripture, by the wisdom of God. And even from my mom. I always tell my mom, I learned some from you. And these are the things I would say. You can actually know how to mold a child.
The book of Jeremiah 35, where he was talking about the Rechabites, he said the father, he said they brought a pot full of wine and said, come and drink.
Yes.
He said, come and drink. What did they say? They said, we will not drink no wine. For that, the son of Rechab, our father, commanded us, saying, you shall drink no wine, neither you not your son, forever. You see, this is why we say, train up a child in the way. There is a way.
There is a way.
It will not leave that child. The university word is an endless word. Yeah. Very open. Nobody tells you when to wake up. Nobody tells you when to go to class. You decide. If you say you don't want to go to class, nobody. It's an endless word. Nobody cares. So what is now guiding you? It is those instructions, those boundaries. What will guide you to say, all my friends are going to meet boyfriend. No, I will not go. What is guiding you? Oh, okay. The only thing I can go for, like for us, we live a triangular life as university students. If you don't find us in church, in fellowship, you see us in class. After class, the next thing is home. Something like that kind of life. Because you knew what brought you there. For me, it was my God and my book. That was the thing I was pursuing. So I didn't have time for they are traveling here, they are going here, let's go and have some fun. So really, whatever seed you sow in your child, it will show, it will speak. So there's a time to instruct a child. There is a time to correct. There is a time to rebuke, as 2 Timothy 3:16 said. There's a time to rebuke. Because sometimes we just want to be our child's friend. Your child is not your friend. You want to befriend your child. You want your child you want to tell your child everything and anything. You want them to understand your emotions, understand your feelings. Your child is not your friend. So we must understand when it's time to rebuke, to correct, to instruct, to teach, to love, everything. That's why Ecclesiastes said there is time for everything.